Ohio State football returns this week. A sigh of relief to have that back in our lives on Saturday. Be watching Ohio State go at it with Penn State. A lot to discuss today. Some sad news we'll begin with in just a second. The losing of a legend for the Ohio State community. Recruiting news, that'll be a lot of this video because there's a lot to get into. And the Buckeyes get a gift from a friend. Trust me, you want to see this gift, and you'll see it again this Saturday. But as I said, we begin with the really, really sad news yesterday that Nick Mangold passed away. Husband, father, friend to so many, and a legend of the Buckeye community. 41 years old. Way, way, way too young. Thoughts and prayers to the family right now. This was really crushing for both the NFL and college football community yesterday. And while at Ohio State, Nick Mangold racked up the accolades. Absolute legend. Did a lot of really, really awesome things at Ohio State. Obviously, he's a member of the Ohio State Athletics Hall of Fame, a national champion, a part of that national championship team. First team All-American when he finished out his career with the Buckeyes, and he started 33 of 45 games in college. Just a staple on that offensive line. Really, really great. So sad to see the passing of a legend there. If you guys want to go ahead and throw down that 55, that was his number at Ohio State, throw that down in the comments below to honor a legend and throw some love to the family right now. Hate to see that and very sad about the passing of Nick Mangold. We move on and begin with recruiting rumors for Ohio State, keeping you up to date on everything happening with the Buckeyes. Not only was there action on the off week with recruiting, but of course, if you aren't paying attention, another big-time college football coach was fired, so that will have many effects on Ohio State and what they will want to do coming up. But we have our eyes on Bralan Womack once again, the 5-star safety as a part of the class of 2026. The thing is, he's committed to Auburn. That felt like a loss, and this was a triggering moment for Buckeye fans that this class was heading in the wrong direction, and yet the Buckeyes regrouped. They've made some great moves in the class of 2026, and Womack flies back on to Ohio State's radar. Now, Auburn, a mess right now. They lose to Missouri, and Womack, you got to think the private thoughts are one thing, but the public thoughts, he says, the honest truth is how I'm feeling right now, the defense has got to stop leaving the game up to the offense. At this point, the defense in the college football world we live in now, you've got to score 20 or more points to compete, and we've done that 0 times in SEC play. Doesn't look like it's going to change. Nothing's changing. Now, I will say, Womack issued an apology-ish thing on the statements there. He kind of corrected himself and just said, hey, this is all passion. I love Auburn. That's why I was so concerned. That's why I was stressed out. But recently, he's been asked about, hey, it looks like your coach is going to get fired, leading him to say, hey, this is where I'd like to be. But with all the coaching changes that are circulating, I really just have to be patient. I don't want to be hung out to dry come signing day in December. So that's why I'm talking to other schools. I think it's smart for Bralan Womack, and I think it's a lot of signs that the decision you made, not good. Auburn's a mess. You'll have a different head coach. I mean, you really have to consider this, and I think this could be a big break for the Buckeyes with Womack kind of changing his mind. Ohio State already has one 5-star safety as a part of their 2026 class. Would be electric to add another. I think it's still a little bit of an uphill battle here, but we've been tracking Womack for a while. Great example. If you are not subscribed, if you haven't hit that sub button, Buckeyes heading into their final stretch of games. Recruiting is heating up. You got to subscribe to the Ohio State Football Report. I give the example. Earlier today, I wanted to read an Ohio State article. I thought it was really cool. I click on it. Sign up for free trial. This much free here on the Ohio State Football Report. Just click on the video, and we will bring you all the need-to-know info. Here's where I'm at on Bralan Womack. It's going to be tough, but jump in and flip this guy. Make it happen. Auburn's a mess. It wasn't the money. We found out later that he didn't take the highest offer. If you can sell him on the idea, I guess not only that Auburn's a mess, but hey, you'd be a perfect fit at Ohio State, even as a corner, safety, wherever you would need to move him. Just make it happen. And again, all the odds working against you. College football is nuts right now. Big-time coaches are being fired. Money's being tossed around. Guys are skipping school to school. We just see major recruits still choosing North Carolina after they're terrible. I think right now anything can happen in college football, which is why the Buckeyes should try and jump back in on Bralan Womack and get him to flip to Ohio State. All right, real quick, need to let you guys know this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? You can make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash. A look at Monday Night Football. Deebo Samuel, Marcus Mariota, Pat Mahomes. We're going more, less, more. Scattered all over the board, but I really like what we have in Deebo Samuel's rushing or receiving. You guys know I always like that with the more. Marcus Mariota, less on the passing yards. I think the Chiefs' defense is going to get after him a little bit. And Mahomes, Monday Night Football, I think they want to look better than they did against the Jags, so I'll take more on Mahomes, touchdown, pass, and a half. Also want to note to you guys, Prize Picks puts their users first. This is always big for me. Withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your bank account this football season. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Yes, it was an off week for Ohio State, and yet not an off week in any sort of way for Ryan Day. Both Coach Day and running backs coach Carlos Loughlin hit the road for some Friday night lights. They went to Pennsylvania, then Tennessee. We were trying to do the math here in the Chat Sports office, and must have been a heck of a night. Had to be like a first quarter fly, different recruit, which we'll get to in just a second. But look, I think this is a good opportunity. Show Ryan Day some love. Show Carlos Loughlin some love. James Laurinaitis also on the road. This was their off week, guys, and they doubled up on traveling, checking out recruits, watching football. Your job's to watch football. You get an off day and you watch more football. Hit that thumbs up button and show a little bit of love to these coaches hustling to make Ohio State great. So in pursuit of getting another running back for the class of 2027, two running backs that Ryan Day and Carlos Loughlin went to check out. David Gabriel Georges. The highlights are incredible, by the way, all over the web of just the physicality, the quickness, the shiftiness at the running back position. And obviously, they went PA to Tennessee. We're beginning with Gabriel Georges because we'll get to Command Spell in just a second. Really, really good player. Again, this is the Buckeyes' attempt to add another name to the class of 2027 at running back. I think they really, really want to make sure they fill out that class nicely at the running back position and have depth there. So David Gabriel Georges, a name we're going to keep an eye on because Ryan Day himself on his off day went to see this guy, and he also went to see Keemon Spell. Again, this is the number one running back in the class, number one in PA, top 10 recruit. I mean, Penn State commit that bailed out when James Franklin bailed out. Actually, he was bailing out just before James Franklin was fired. So this is the Buckeyes trying to take the opportunity with lost recruits from programs kind of suffering and add them to their class of 2027. Which brings us to our next discussion. Brian Kelly has now been fired as the head coach of the LSU Tigers, and obviously this points to an opportunity for Ohio State to do the exact same thing with LSU recruits and transfers. The big thing for me, obviously, is you do have to be careful in these situations with you already have your classes, and you don't want to disrupt it too much by changing things up just because a coach left, right? You haven't been watching these guys. You haven't been paying attention to these guys. I always think that that's notable because, they were set with LSU. However, the point I want to make, and I know recruits is going to be like the main thing, jump in and get those recruits, obviously what they're doing with Keemon Spell and some other guys. I think the transfer portal is where the Buckeyes are really going to take advantage of these opportunities. And we've already heard the rumblings that they're not interested as much in offering the 18-year-olds, the seniors, the juniors, millions of dollars to come to Ohio State. They want to make sure the established college football players are the ones that they are paying to come over and play for the Buckeyes. Easy example here, everybody. Alabama. Nick Saban retires. I know, obviously, Brian Kelly's fired, but same thing. Coach is gone. What do the Buckeyes do? Caleb Downs, Seth McLaughlin, Julian Sand, guys that they have either tape or info or anything else on that they know that when they bring them in as transfers, that's the opportunity. And again, I think that's where the Buckeyes are really going to make their bones there and take their opportunity with the transfer portal and not recruits. However, you may disagree with me. Let me know what you think on this one. Which opportunity with Brian Kelly being fired, James Franklin being fired, which one should OSU take advantage of? If it's their recruits, lost recruits, type R. If you think the transfer portal is where Ohio State should go to, type T. All right, white hot heat right now for Ohio State, and you are going to see that heat on Saturday. LeBron gifting the Buckeyes once again cleats to wear against Penn State. Look at those bad boys. Is based off his debut sneakers. So he's coming out with those cleats and new sneakers based off his debut sneakers. And, of course, the love LeBron James has for Ohio State. He wanted to get those cleats to the fellas, get them on their feet for Saturday, taking on Penn State at home. And, again, be sure you are tuned in with us here on the Ohio State Football Report. We will be live just before an hour before game time, an hour before kickoff. And I do want to mention, LeBron, appreciate the cleats. The cleats look really, really good. Wouldn't mind those NIL dollars, too, going to Ohio State. I think that would be really, really fun. But we will have a ton of fun this Saturday on our watch party. Be sure to be there.